Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Lesson 2, the Geography of China, Part 2. Again, there are certain reminders before we begin the lesson. I want all students to have the student handbook ready this time. Keep your GS handbook. If you don't have, you can have your notebook ready. And textbook, workbook is optional, as again, many students may not have it with them. But if you have them, it's excellent. You can refer to those pages. Have your stationery pencil eraser ready with you, and again maintain a good distance from your PC and use headphones if you cannot hear clearly. Okay, so I give you 1 minute to get everything with you, besides you, so that we can have the lesson running smoothly. Let's talk about the schedule of the day. First, we'll have news sharing, and next we'll proceed to Zhujiang Delta. Today we'll talk about what a delta landform is, and we'll talk about what is called land of fish and rice and why is it called land of fish and rice. Later we'll move to a very interesting part, that's traveling in China, and at last, you have your homework in which you need to prepare a travel brochure, which I'll talk about it in detail at the end. News sharing. As of now, I have not received any file from any of our students. That's number 20, 21, 17, 18, 19, except Emily. Emily, thank you very much for your news sharing. That was a very useful piece of information. Thank you again. You did a wonderful job. And Emily, you get 10 stickers once the school starts. And please collect your stickers from Mrs. Desai. Now, again, moving forward, again, we have a new sharing by number 14, 15, 16 from all P4 classes, and you need to choose a topic related to health, environment, or any current issues. Prepare an audio file or a video file for 2 to 3 minutes, something like what Emily did, and you need to upload it in Google Classroom, which is very easy. So this week I want to see more students like 14, 15, 16 preparing a new sharing file, send it to Mrs. Desai and get 10 stickers. What is a delta? Before we begin our lesson, it's important for us to know how delta landforms are formed. Where can we find delta landforms? Can we find them in highlands or lowlands? Say, for example, Mrs. Desai gives you an example and says, okay, tell me where can we find volcanoes? Well, most of you would say that, yeah, volcanoes, you can find them in highlands, okay? You have volcanic mountains, such as like mountains. You can find them again in highlands. So there are certain landforms which are present in highlands and certain landforms are present in lowlands. Now, to understand what delta is, how deltas are formed, and where we can find delta landforms, please click on the link below and watch the video. After watching the video, all of you should be able to tell where we can find delta landforms, right? Delta landforms are formed near mouth of the river. right? They're formed by rivers. And what does it mean by mouth of a river? The mouth of a river is a place where the river empties itself into an ocean or into another water body. Here, look at the map on your left and you can see three rivers, right? This is something we talked about in Unit 1 when we were doing the geographical location of China. We looked at the North China Plain, the Shangjiang Plain, and the Zhujiang Plain, and the three rivers, Huanghe, Jixiang, and Shangjiang. These are the three rivers which are flowing through the eastern part of China. Now, here in this lesson, we'll look at the delta formed by the Zhujiang, that is the bottommost, which is nearer to Hong Kong. Why is this Zhujiang Delta important to Hong Kong, you may ask? And the answer is because this delta is a source of many food items. In Hong Kong, there is very little farmland. We all know that Hong Kong is a very small place and we don't have a place for farming. So most of our rice, fruit, vegetables, meat and sea products are imported from Zhujiang Delta. The map on your right, it shows like different circles. Can you see different circles? And it has the cities like Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Dongguan, Guangzhou. Now these are the main cities which are around the Pearl River Delta or the Zhujiang River Delta and trade like rice, fish, vegetables and other commodities. We are all connected in business. And the Zhujiang Delta is the plain nearest to Hong Kong. So we are very closely connected to it. And that's why it's important for us to learn about the geography and people's life here. Let's look at the aerial map of China. Now here, in the picture we have the Zhujiang Delta or the Pearl River Delta. And as you can see in the picture, you can see a blue line, which is the river, and it's emptying itself into the ocean, the South China Sea. And if you see the pointers, there are many cities which are around the Delta region. Now these are very prosperous cities in terms of business and lifestyle. Can you see the cities like Macau, Zhuhai, going from the left, Guangzhou, Zhujiang is the Delta, Shenzhen, Hong Kong. Now, why are these cities so prosperous? Number one, because the land which is near to the river is very fertile. That means it has a lot of water, it has a lot of nutrients, and it has a plain. That means it's a flat surface which is very good for irrigation, agriculture, farming. So it has abundant supply of like paddy, rice, all the cultivation. Plus, it's also good for growing fruits and vegetables. And plus, it's near to the sea, all the cities. So again, it's a major industry for seafood. And one more thing to add, the climate. The climate around this delta region is very moderate. That means it's neither too cold or not too hot or not too sunny. It's not the extreme kind of weather that you find in higher mountainous regions. Here it's very stable, very moderate. And so this moderate weather, it's very good for farming. And because of that, you have a very good supply of vegetables, meat, seafood throughout the season. In this slide, we'll learn about people's life here. Now, the climate of Zhujiang Delta is moderate. As I said earlier, moderate means neither too hot, not too cold. It has a very constant climate. It's mainly a flat land with abundant water resources. As we know, it's near to the river. It has a lot of water available for agriculture, farming, and a lot of rice and different kinds of fruit and vegetables are produced here because farming agriculture, it requires a lot of water. As you can see the bottom two pictures, now this is paddy, rice cultivation, and this kind of farming, it requires a lot of flat land and it also requires a lot of water, which is readily available in this region. And also, now this delta has got a lot of seafood and meat because it's near to the ocean and there is a rich supply of seafood and meat. So that's the reason this delta is also called as a land of fish and rice, because you have place to grow rice, paddy, you can do fruit farming, you can do vegetable farming, and you're near to the oceans, so you have lots of seafood, you have lots of meat. So it's called a land of fish and rice. China is a big country. It has many different landforms, as we studied in past 2 units, and each landform has its own beauty, it has its own unique features, and it could be a very attractive tourist destination. Here in this slide, we'll take a look at a place called Guilin, and as you see, these are the pictures from Guilin, and you can see different landscape which is present in Guilin. You can see a beautiful lake, very scenic. It's called Lixiang Lake, and the water is very crystal clear. And behind the lake, you can see mountains. And these mountains, I've been to Guilin, and I can tell you, these mountains are not like the ordinary mountains that we see in pictures or in other places. These mountains are very unique, and they're like a cluster of mountains, not too tall, not too short, and it's got this unique dome-shaped, at its peak, and it's just beautiful and very distinct and unique. Guilin is also called as the forest of sweet osmanthus because there are a large number of fragrant sweet osmanthus trees located in the region. As I said earlier, this place has got lots of hills and mountains, and one such famous hill is called the Elephant Trunk Hill. As you can see in the picture on top left-hand corner, you can see the shape. It's like an elephant trunk which is sucking water from the lake. And the one in the bottom, you can see it says the Camel Peak. It looks like a camel. So your homework will be to design something like this. I'm sure many of you may have been to some beautiful places in China, and you need to design something called a travel brochure, which I'll talk about it in the next slide. As part of the homework this week, you students are required to make a travel brochure. Now you have to choose any place in China. It could be a place that you have been to, or if you've not been to any places in China, you can just Google and come up with a beautiful place, and you have to find pictures. The more personal pictures you have, the better, and then you can make a booklet using the pictures, and you have to have certain information like the name of the place, how to travel to that place, the climate in that place, and beautiful pictures you need to add. It's like a tourist guide, and you can add some description, and you can even give your own views about this place, and very like interactive. Now, these are the templates, designs for your travel brochure. This is just a reference point. You do not have to copy the exact. You can make your own, and I look forward to seeing your own creativity.